Hi, my name is Kyra Aligaen. I am a rising junior at the University of Southern California in Los Angeles. I'm an occupational therapy major. I am here in Seoul to gain an international perspective and also develop some cross-cultural understanding. I believe as a future healthcare provider, it's really important to me to gain the sense of empathy in order to best provide care for my future patients.
Hello, my name is Patrick Nowlen, and I am a rising senior at the University of Southern California, and I study biomedical engineering.
I think it's beneficial to have an international perspective and professional experience because it allows you to push past your comfort zone and challenge your assumptions.
So I think it's really valuable to sort of have a global perspective when it comes to just designing anything, which is what I would like to do. Hopefully any medical devices that I design will be able to be applied internationally as well as domestically and help people around the world.
For me personally, I'm excited to learn international leadership and how global business is conducted here in Korea. One day I hope to be a global health leader, and so I think it's important for me to understand how business matters are conducted overseas and hopefully learn from mentors who are willing to help me and also expand my professional network here overseas.
And also, I just think it's really important to sort of explore other cultures, sort of learn about how they might have solved problems differently, and then try to integrate that back into what I know about my country and sort of lessons that I've learned. And I think it just makes you generally a more well-rounded and adaptable person, which I think will be very valuable in a career. Before traveling to Korea, I think I would firstly just reassure myself that it's okay to be uncomfortable. There's going to be lots of challenges upon arriving in Korea. Even small things, just like getting around, can become sort of difficult.
Before traveling to Korea, I would have told myself that it's okay if you're nervous at first, but you really gotta force yourself to go out of your comfort zone, and especially in terms of the language, not to be afraid to speak Korean and to also act in ways that are typical of Korean people here. So for example, saying thank you or saying hello in Korean when you enter or leave different establishments, following Korean norms here, just to be as respectful as you possibly can.
But yeah, I would just remind myself that it's okay and just be open to new stuff, be as respectful as possible, and everything will go all right. And then I think I would also tell myself to try and take more advantage of online resources. So what sort of apps I could have used, how people generally live, read up on the garbage policy here. That was something I had to learn about upon arrival. And then generally just look into more cultural norms. I think there are some things I could have found online rather than having to discover them for the first time in the country.
I know at first I was nervous also to make a fool out of myself or to offend anybody when I first came here. But now I've been trying to kind of ignore those nerves and just to practice the language as much as possible. So I would have told myself just to just try it, take a chance on yourself, and eventually you'll become more comfortable with the language. Yeah, so I've been here for about 6 days now, and I'm going to be staying for about 50 more. So this is the longest time I've ever been abroad and the longest time I've ever been in East Asia.
For me, I think that the hardest part has been sort of going out of my comfort zone and trying to just be okay with interacting in a language that I don't know. It's very easy to sort of just stand by and be idle and be like, I'll just sort of go with the flow. I won't try new things. But I think that I'll miss a lot of things if I do that. So sort of trying to break out of my shell and like, you know what, I will seat myself at this restaurant by myself. I will try to order this by myself. I'll go take public transit by myself. I think that's been super valuable. I've learned a lot of lessons. I think I've grown, become a little bit more courageous and a little bit more adaptable. But certainly there's still room to improve and things I can work on.
The adjustment period has been fairly smooth, I'd say. Thankfully, I have a lot of Korean-speaking friends who have been kind of my lifeline, but eventually I'm going to have to go off on my own and do things without their help. So I've been really using Papago, Naver Maps, a lot of the Korean apps that are really popular here in South Korea to help me on my journeys and my travels. I think everyone has been really, really kind and really respectful, and I just want to be able to return that same hospitality to those who are welcoming me as well. I think the biggest curve for me so far has been just understanding the language and being able to communicate. But again, those translation apps have really come in handy, and I will be using them more and hopefully gain more familiarity with the language.
So firstly, one of my main goals is really just to get to know the culture as well as possible. I want to try as many foods as possible, go to as many tourist destinations, and generally just sort of experience what it's like to live here and live among the general Korean lifestyle.
I think personally, I'm really excited to immerse myself in Korean culture. I have some proximity to Korean culture just from watching a lot of K-dramas and also Korean food. I love eating Korean food, and I do listen to some K-pop music. I'm a really big BTS fan, so I'm excited to just be in the country where all of this pop culture is really apparent and really a big thing.
From a more professional standpoint, I would like to just grow sort of as a business person, get better networking skills, hopefully meet some possible career mentors later in life, and then be able to translate that back into valuable skills and lessons that I can use engineering things in the United States.
Professionally, as an occupational therapy major, I study what it's like for individuals to recover, and I provide different interventions and rehabilitation services to people to get them back to doing whatever is most meaningful to them in their life. So this can look like a broad array of things, and it requires some level of cultural understanding in order for me to get to know my patients' backgrounds and who they are and get to know their stories. So with that comes understanding their culture, and I think here in Korea I'm excited to understand other people's culture with the hopes of doing the same for my patients in the future, understanding different lifestyles and different ways of life for my role as a future occupational therapist.